Peace. Thanks for tuning in and welcome to FlyDialogue. Man, we got a dope session for you today. Our man Truth, aka Josh Jacobs from Capital Minds Entertainment, is rocking with us. So yeah, let's get to it.
Bring the drums in and welcome back to September. Bro, been working extra hard. Let's give them something to remember though. New season, new organization, built it from the ground up. Got a capital mind and we about to tear the town up. And I bet you still thinking that you better though, homie. You just an amateur. Me and my dudes professionals, the coldest in the league, and ain't nobody tight as us. The opposition got the loose screws. Tell them fools to tighten up, 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 tighten up. Get up out of your seat right now. Get up on your feet right now. Been waiting for this all week. Go rock to that beat and tell. Tighten up, 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 tighten up. Get up out of your seat right now. Get up on your feet right now. Been waiting for this all week. Go rock to that beat and tell. This a Tennessee pride thing. If you ain't down for what we do,
but you know, Memphis is a diamond mine. For sure.
Yeah, it's interesting for a city that's like, I mean, it's a rough place, right? I mean, it's like everybody knows that's a tough place to come out of, but at the same time, for there to be so many like stars that come out of Memphis, like truly like people who blow up and hit the charts and are making crazy music, you know, and it's been consistent for so long. And you know, what's funny about that is you know, Nashville being not too far away from there, like it's very different, you know, as far as like, you know, especially
Totally
from the hip hop standpoint, you know, like they haven't had as much. I feel like Memphis produces way more artists than Nashville consistently. I mean, I know there are artists in Nashville because I live there, but at the same time, like as far as the artists that really get more of a national fame, like a bigger spot, like it's interesting, you know, that Memphis would be the market to do that because Nashville seems to have so many resources, especially with the labels right there. You know what I mean?
Right. So when you ask about challenges, that's one of the challenges that you get out of Memphis is because, especially me being an engineer and a producer, you know, I hear music differently. So I can hear first thing I listen for is the talent and the songwriting and all of the intangibles. Then I listen to the mix. And if you know, Nashville got more studios than at one point than New York, Boston, and LA combined home studios. For such a small city. Exactly. Yeah. And so having access to great sound is something that Nashville thrives. You know, it's something that Nashville artists don't have to think about. You can go to any home studio almost and get decent sound. Even Kirk can tell you from almost 12 years ago, me and him working, you know, he still thinks we got great mixes out of there. So,
I still tell people that all the time because my time in Nashville, I said, man, everybody I knew had a home studio. And we're not just talking about having a studio like quality, right? Like people understood. And there's so many other studios. And I used to hear a lot of artists from LA were coming out to Nashville because the cost to stay there and record was much cheaper than doing it in LA. But also the sound alone was just consistently better. Everybody got a studio in Nashville, like a high quality joint. You know what I'm saying?
I tell people all the time, I could go back to St. Louis or back to Missouri and make $100,000 a year just off of my recording studio, but I couldn't work with the caliber of artists that I work with in Nashville.
Yeah,
but that was one of the challenges of working with artists from Memphis. They don't trust engineers. So you get an artist like, I need you to mix a track and like or a feature track, and they send you with they vocals already mixed, already compressed, and you got to try to work and see how to fit this in a record that you're mixing on. So they don't trust.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's because they've paid for studio time. They've gone, they have a vision of what they want their music to sound like, and then they give it to some engineer, not dissing engineers in Memphis, but they've just worked with people who just knew what they knew and did the best that they could, but it still wasn't great. It wasn't good music. That's the advantage is Memphis has all of the raw talent, but Nashville has all of the great sound. And so we're kind of like bridging that gap between them, introducing, you know, Memphis artists. And I sit on the phone sometimes with artists and producers from Memphis and just walk them through, hey, this is how you can get a better sound, just doing this or doing this while you're recording, or, you know, before you record or during recording. So
and that's one thing a lot of artists overlook is like just sound quality alone. It separates a lot of people, you know, a lot of records, you know.
I mean, a lot of times, man, that'll be, you know, the biggest distinguishing factor, man, like that sound and the separation of it. Truth, you can speak to that, but yeah, man, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. And it's and like I said, being in Nashville, you don't really have to give a a second thought to. Now you have to give a thought to whether this engineer who does country all day cares about my hip hop record and is even going to try. But you don't have to worry about if you take your session home and give it to another engineer to mix for you, whether it's going to be good or not. You know?
That's kind of dope, though, man. I mean, because I know a lot of times, I feel like being in the studio sometimes, like folks or the artist doesn't really have any idea, you know what I'm saying, what they're doing. So, I mean, I think that speaks to the level of talent that's in Memphis. At least they're thinking about, I don't know, how they want to sound. You know what I'm saying? I think there's some pros and cons to that, to your point. Like, sometimes you got to trust that engineer. But
yeah, Memphis rappers and singers know music.
Yeah.
They came up in the church. They came up in bands. They've been playing in bands. Most of the artists that I know from Memphis are musicians. They played in school bands, because if you wasn't, what they say, either you slinging rock or you got a wicked jump shot. In Memphis, it was you had a wicked jump shot or you played in a band.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, Duke is a musician. His dad is a musician. His dad was the musician that did the music for Gangsta Black on South Parkway.
Oh wow!
Oh
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So that's Duke's dad. That's where he comes from. He's from
that's crazy.
Line of musicians.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. That makes perfect sense. That makes sense. Man. Yeah, it's just such a rich history in Memphis too, man. It's crazy for as rough as it is. Like, well, I guess that's one of those things, man. But
I mean, as rough as Memphis looks to everybody else from outside. When I go to Memphis, I just feel love. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. My grandma's sister is from Douglas, and that's deep in the heart of North Memphis.
Yeah.
And so, I never experienced. It was danger. It was dangerous everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I always experienced love. We was in church. We was with the people. We was in the city. We was talking. People talk to you. People like Memphis. People talk to you. They want but it's one of them places. If you looking for trouble, you gonna find it. Like,
well, yeah, that's pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
I've always known you to have good energy, though, man. You're open and welcome to conversations, dialogue. No pun intended.
Absolutely.
There, but you know what I'm saying? That's just truth, man. That's the history of messing with this cat, man. We go back, man. We go back. I was thinking about that before we hopped on here. I was like, man, I done known this cat for almost maybe 15. Like it's been, it's been a run, man. So
I think my twins were barely walking.
Barely. Yeah, Zach and Zoe,
just
man.
Barely walking.
That was at the
matter of fact,
Antioch.
We had to put a pin, gate to keep them out of the studio.
Keep them out of the studio. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Coldest in the league, and ain't nobody tight as us. The opposition got the loose screws. Tell them fools to tighten up, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up.
So as far as managing artists, like how what? And I mean, I think that role's probably changed a bit, right, from in the past. And so like I know nowadays, a lot of folks don't go label route. As a person who's representing them or managing them, like how much influence do you guys have in different parts of those decisions?
Okay, so there's two parts to a lot of what we do is artist development. A lot of artists, they don't know what they need, you know what I'm saying? So the first thing that I want to hear is, do you have a hit? Do you got, you know what I'm saying? Do you have any type of leverage? And that's the biggest thing for management artists coming up is if you don't have any movement, you don't have any motion, you might be the greatest, but labels aren't looking for you. They aren't coming to find you. They aren't digging through the dirt to find diamonds anymore. So you have to make yourself stand out. You have to make yourself visible. You have to make yourself be seen. And that's a part that turns a lot of great artists away from this music business today, is because they don't want to sit on their phone and make content for Instagram and TikTok. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do it. They don't feel like that's part of making music, the music making process. And so that separates a lot of people from superstars. I mean, if you see who was that came out this past year? Glorilla.
She's everywhere.
Yeah. She was at the Grammys, right? Like she did the which blew my mind, because I had heard her on an interview with Sway, which was a really dope interview. But it was, I love Memphis music, man. I spent enough time in Tennessee where, like, you know, you just have a kinship to, like, you know, everything that goes on in that city. And I love that town too. Khalid and I have talked about, you know, love-hate relationship in Memphis, but it's just, it was
a
so
crazy dynamic, man. It's
well, it's just, like I said, it's a tough town, but what I loved about it is, like, you know, you said it's very embracing. Once you get there and you kind of like know the lay of the land and how to move around it, man. I mean, I always felt super comfortable there and enjoyed my time.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man, to see her on the Grammys. I was like, bro, are you serious? Like, like that.
Yeah,
I didn't even know how did that even work out? You know,
man,
a new artist that nobody knew in I'll say February of last year.
I mean, I probably didn't find out about her until maybe Q4. You know what I'm saying? I'm late. You know what I'm saying? I'm old. So.
Yeah, but let me give you a little backstory. Our A&R Magic for Capital Minds, he has a show that he does with a DJ out of Nashville, Texas Trill, and they put together this traveling showcase called The Ring, and Glorilla, Gloss Up.
Gloss Up. Yeah, she just dropped her last week, right?
Glorilla, Gloss Up, Aliza. I can't remember the other girl's name. Oh, K Carbon. Yeah, they were all on that show, and Magic introduced them to Hit Kid that night.
Wow.
So Hit Kid actually was working with them in 2021, shooting videos with them and doing records with them, and a year later they were out of here.
Crazy.
Out of here.
That's wild. Yeah.
And so when I tell you that Capital Minds really just touches everything, we really like between Memphis and Nashville, we have relationships with everybody.
Be sure to visit FlyDialogue.com to find out more about us, including our radio station where we stream hip hop 24/7. Yo, we're literally jamming as we speak. We got a craft beer blog called Cream. Craft rules everything around me. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the craft beer app called Untapped, or on YouTube. Just search Fly Dialogue on all these platforms. Be sure to follow us and friend us, subscribe to us. Long story short, check us out. We'd love to have y'all, and we look forward to connecting with you. And let's talk soon.